This is the 8-9 Combo.
This is the 8-9 Combo. I'm Brett McKay, and for the last time, this is Harry Jones. Hello, mate. How you doing?
How's it, man? Yeah, it's a strange feeling to say that the final one. Maybe it's coinciding with the news we got from Sean Maloney today that he got mistaken for me in Cape Town, and someone came up to me and said, "Are you Harry Jones?" This is when you know
it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen. Yeah. If you have missed our message from earlier in the week, this is the 8-9 finale in its current form, with Harry departing for bigger and better South African focused things next year, meaning the final episode of the year is going to be all about the good times and the great memories, which brings us straight to here's cheers, mate. And I'm going to kick off here with what we're giving cheers to around the rugby world. And I'm just going to say cheers to us. And I mentioned this earlier in the week in the little short video that we have genuinely loved every minute of this. More than 300 episodes over 4 seasons together, roughly 190 as the 8-9 Combo, 90 last season. We're going to be just short of 100 this year. Every week from late January to early December, it's been lots of hard work. It's been lots of dedication, but we're really, really proud of the consistent high quality content that we've been able to produce. And we didn't set out to become YouTubers, but we're really proud of the way that we've adapted, and we added such a huge subscriber base because of that. And that subscriber base, it's nearly 11,000 on YouTube, but it's upwards of 15,000 once you include pod subscriptions and social followings and all that sort of stuff. And we built all of that from scratch, mate. So yay us.
Oh, my cheers will be sort of a companion one to that then. What I'll say is this is the triumph for any of you watching and have other things you want to do and start up. The triumph of saying we can do this when it wasn't exactly apparent that it would work. I think your statement was, well, Harry, who would want to listen to me for 30 minutes? And I was like, told you, who wouldn't want to listen to me for 5 hours? So you have different skill sets, and you have optimism and pessimism, and you have realistic thinkers and fanciful thinkers like me. It can work well. And so that's one issue I would say is, sort of find a partner who can save you from your own worst instincts. The second one would be just try stuff, because we weren't sitting there in week 3 thinking, and we'll bag, World Cup winners, be some Matawira, and we're going to have John Eales, and we're going to have, like proper guests, that are like Sir Bill Beaumont.
We certainly didn't sit down at the start and go, and each year we'll start with the chair of World Rugby.
Yeah. And it's just like literally, getting Checker was me texting him saying, "Hey, Checker, you want to come on?" At some point, 6 months later, he said, "Hey, let's do it." After you won, it beat the All Blacks. So I think maybe that's the spirit. My cheers is try something, give it a whirl. Don't talk yourself out of things. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Now, normally this would be where we would invite you to subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And we are so close to 11,000 YouTube subscribers that it's not funny. But we acknowledge that this week's news doesn't actually sell that much as we have over the last 2 years of the 8-9 Combo. So normally you would start some story about God knows what.
Something, right.
Something.
Oh, here's a reason. Subscribe like crazy. Go even multiples, because then Brett gets to say, "Harry, the second you left, my subscription would go." That'll be funny.
That's a great point. So if you are watching us on YouTube and you do want to see where this ends up, just hit the red button down there in the bottom corner. And if you're listening to the pod on the platforms and all that sort of stuff, then you know what it is. It's hit subscribe, hit like, hit follow, whatever it happens to be, so that you don't miss whatever comes next. Turn your notifications on. And then, of course, for everyone who has done this, we can only say thank you. So, mate, how do we wrap up 2 wonderful seasons of the 8-9 Combo? 4 seasons as a pod pair that has been nothing but fun. How do we finalize the finale?
I don't know. Maybe it's that remember when kind of conversation.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us.
Remember when there was that time?
Yeah.
No, I just think it's all funny. I remember a time when you were developing your sort of relay system on when you'd pivot from a guest to me to a guest to me, and it was sometimes we had that early guest where we were still working out that pattern. I don't know if you guys have been in a school play. I think you and I have both been in Wizard of Oz, strangely enough.
We had worked it out
separately. And if someone says your line, you kind of have nowhere to go. So I remember a few times when I would say a question that was supposed to be you, it was red and blue, whatever, or you did mine. I was like, oh, well.
I don't know what to say now.
Well, Kenny, isn't it cool that you can throw the ball so quickly?
It's true.
And so there were those kind of moments where you had to learn, the flow. I think maybe that was one thing that was interesting. The other one is, having too much of an outline and too many questions. I think the first 7 or 8 episodes, I think we had 7 pages and we had subparts.
No. It is funny, and I'll have to over the summer go back to early run sheets compared to what we have now, and it's the conversation is just the conversation now, and we've said to so many guests and so many of our regulars over the years that we had all this other stuff we were going to ask you about, we didn't even get there, and that's always been the sign to us that it's been a really, really good chat, is if we didn't get onto something. So that's been the best part of it. Maybe we go back to the very, very start, mate, and how all this came about, because my recollection of it, and I'd love to hear your backstory of this. My recollection of it is that you said to me one day, and we've been on a global rugby WhatsApp group for I don't know how long. I don't know how long. At least. And you messaged me separately one day and just went, "Hey, we should do a podcast together." And I think my reaction was, "Oh yeah." It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was enthusiastic to start with, but I could tell that you were keen to do something. And then, the Raw come to us and said, "This idea, maybe there might be some legs in this." Oh, okay, this is actually serious. So then we actually had to start talking to each other and working out, what are we going to talk about? What sort of combination have we got? And I think early on we sort of discovered that we're just a couple of rugby guys who like having a good chat, and it's all stemmed from there, basically. Is that have I summed that up about right?
Yeah, and we realized it could work because
where did the idea come from, and why me?
So I knew that I had holes in my game, which is I don't know how to produce anything or put it together in some kind of like whatever this thing is, JPEG file, folder, whatever it is that results at the end of it.
Guess who still doesn't?
Yeah. And so that was important. Second was I felt like pods that die or don't do well, they're too much the same. So you literally have 3 guys on there, and it's hard to distinguish when they start talking who's who, because their point of views are too similar, their accents too similar, their favorite teams are too similar, and it just all seems to boil down into fan talk, fanboy, too much swearing, not enough watching, not enough analytics, and it just seems like 3 guys in a garage and just kind of wasting their time. So I wanted to do something that was, more professional. I knew that you had that background that you could produce and think about what you like to say short and sharp, and that you didn't like to do things without knowledge. You don't just say stuff. You have spreadsheets and such. And so I didn't want to get onto something where we just swear and approximate. I thought we wanted to be precise and bring something new to the discussion. And I think that's why we got those guests and why it was easy. It became so easy to get guests,
It did.
You could just call up and say, "You want to do it?" Yes, we want to do it. Because people knew that we get a fair run, a fair shake. We weren't out to get them on some kind of weird, gotcha.
No. Yeah.
So I felt like you were fair with, on the chat group, you could tell who can say that their team lost because it was a fair penalty versus people who can never see that. Like, we were robbed. You weren't that kind of guy.
Yeah. And it just came together, and the starting out as pod only, we're looking at the numbers going, like a couple of hundred people listen to that. It wasn't sort of good. So, the 23 World Cup was massive. It was you were in France. I was here back in at home base, producing everything from afar. That 6 weeks is just a blur to me now, in hindsight, because it all went so quickly. There was so much going on at all hours of the day. I really don't know how I managed to keep doing a day job for 6 weeks during that period. It was ridiculous. Like, we did, I don't know, 30 shows, something like that, 30 different episodes through that. It was crazy. And yeah, we
and from so many places, like, you know, in a pool, in a spa, by an ocean, under a bar, in a car, by a train, you know, in bombed out shelters, in the middle of crowds, in stairwells. It was actually bizarre how many times we were in sketchy places.
Different spot. I think I've counted up over the years that we have done recordings from maybe half a dozen different airports around the world, and some of them multiple times. Charles de Gaulle and
Heathrow
came up a lot. Yes. So it all just came together surprisingly well, is what I'll say. And then when we did decide to go on our own, we were a little bit blown away at how much of that audience followed us over. I thought, all right, let's see how these two go free of the masters of tyranny.
Did it really change that much? I mean,
not really.
We never were really into just
we tweaked the format a little bit, but
we were a little more free and easy with the questions, because it wasn't an editor waiting. And Tony was always very gracious about it. He had, I think in the beginning, he would log on and kind of just see what we were doing, just so we weren't doing something insane. But, you know, soon he just logged off and had fun with it. And no one ever told us what we had to say or do. But we knew we were part of a thing that would then have an article about it. So I think that does change, maybe. I don't know.
Once we got free and we didn't have to worry about potential news elements, because neither of us cared about that, then we could just have the conversations that we wanted. So yeah, we tweaked the format a bit, and the production was better, definitely. And it went from there.
I think we landed sponsors. We made some money. That was different. You know, the Raw, we were making money, but it was more of a piece rate. And it was exciting to be partners with people like Chasing the Sun, and you know, really get an insight into how people tell stories in rugby. I like that we had refs, we had lawyers who handle players' cases, we had a caterer at Twickenham. So we tried to tell a story around rugby that was not just, you know, the captain saying, "I was proud of the boys." It was something deeper. And that was Let's explore that. Who is your favorite handful of guests? Well, I love Ned Hannigan because it just makes me pee in my pants. He's so funny. And it's not even like he's trying to be. He's just talking a story about putting his boots into a truck at a farm, and just the way he says it makes me giggle. Probably Ringo, Rian Lowe, and I going to Ellis Park and rehearsing how doers we were, and then how we were just chasing. That was super fun. I mean, heroes of mine like Rob Lowe, someone I grew up idolizing, you know, from the southern suburbs, and people like the Beast, Ox, and shit. Probably it was pretty exciting to have John Eales, in my opinion. I mean, just always looked up to him. So I've watched documentaries of him, and he just was a very inspiring fellow. And I thought, what are you doing slumming with us guys? Let's see. I really enjoyed some of the guys from Moana Pacifica. I thought they were so gracious and humble. It's just difficult to put my finger on a few. Charlie Morgan. We developed this thing where we had like special relationships, almost like the Seinfeld thing, where you have core characters, you and I,
recurring characters,
and Charlie Morgan, Bernard Jackman, Jeff Parks, Ringo,
Hugh Griffin, Rian,
Tony Johnson,
Johnson.
Just
Jamie Wall,
those are my favorite. Those are my favorite. My favorites are the ones that we were on with 3, 4, 5, 6 times enough where we really forgot we were potting and we were just having a chat. When it got to a point with we become so familiar, and Charlie Morgan became so familiar with us that in the end, like we weren't even really sending him, here's the link at this time. We just sort of went, does this time work? Yep, cool, okay, yep, same link as last time. Yep, great, no worries at all. And
we would just come together and have a chat, and it was just cool. But then I love little moments like Andrew Kellaway getting dive bombed by a parakeet in his backyard, which was just fun. And then catching up with those coaches and players and referees. Angus Gardner on. We had Brett Cronin on, who completely decoded TMO talk for us, and
he alarmed me.
I'll never unhear what he told me.
I was like, wait, because I think there's too much TMOing going on.
Even last weekend, the last international of the year, and it's been however many months it is since we spoke to Brett Cronin. There was a line that was being said. The TMO said something, and I was like, "Oh, I know what that means." That was to hear the perspectives about rugby that we don't hear every day and every week. That was the cool thing. It was great to be able to talk to players and coaches, giving coaches an opportunity to go in deep about something that they can't do in a 10-minute press conference, being asked 8 questions by 6 different journos.
Laurie Fisher.
Here was a question to go, Dan McKellar loved getting deep into preparation for games and things like that. That was really, really cool. And they all enjoyed that too, mate. So many people, so many guests that we've had, you catch up with them afterwards, they go, we really enjoyed that chat. So that was the best part of it, I think.
I think also what I liked was the stuff that wasn't recorded. It was just the setup, and you get to know someone in a different way. And, you have to tell some eminent, distinguished coach that the phone they've got is going up their nostrils, and you're like, no, you're gonna have to do this. And that's pretty funny.
Eddie, would you mind just tilting your camera down a bit? We don't need to see so much of your roof.
But also the value added. So a guy like Jonathan Kaplan came on, and so just post chat, he's like, hey, do you want to see my notebooks? And he had notebooks from every single match in detail. And it struck you with Angus Gardner and Jonathan Kaplan, this is the kind of person who ends up being a top level ref, is a very detailed, extremely hard on self kind of person. And we shouldn't worry so much about, the ref is this and that, because they tend to be this type of person who are just plagued by, and Jonathan Kaplan said, I made a mistake in this game and I made a mistake, and so I apologize. Like, it's free. Like, they know they make mistakes, guys. It's not like, they're like us. So I think things like that, or Sumo Stevenson, burning his brownies for his kids. It's fun.
That was that. You mentioned Angus Gardner. The best part of the Angus Gardner chat was him outlining what his week looks like and how much prep he goes into a game, and that's had such an enduring effect that every now and again I'll see a comment, or I'll see a post on social media, or I'll see something online referencing, I remember hearing Angus Gardner talk about how much they prep for a game. And I thought, that was us. That was our chat. And that was 18 months ago. We spoke to Angus. And even now, and this is exactly what I mean. Even now, if he's at a game where I'm on the sideline, we always bump into each other. We make a point of saying g'day, keep an eye out for it. Like, that's the best part of it. That is absolutely the best part of it. Yeah,
there were those moments. For me, Franz Malherbe getting, like, literally showing us his hands and going,
that's right.
This is how the tight head gets under this hooker. And I was like, I'm in scrum heaven. I don't want this to end. We could pod for 4 hours.
Do you remember we spoke the first time we had Ben Darwin on, and we've spoken to Ben a couple of times about numerous different things about team makeup and cohesion index and things like that he and Simon Strawn work on so well at Gainline. The first time we had him on, we hit stop, and I reckon we spoke to him for another hour post, and like we fully had to delay the release of that episode, because we just got into so many different fascinating topics after the event, and that was why we went back to him several times, because that was a great chat.
Nah, for sure. And so that's interesting. What people don't know off camera, some people are just out. The second you say thanks a lot, they're boom, gone.
Yeah,
and then other people will talk to you for 30 minutes, tell you the best stories, and like, why didn't you tell that one on camera?
Yeah.
And then other ones will just visit and like actually inquire I don't know, people like Stuart Lancaster was like, well, how does it work? Like, how does a pod work? And, just curious people. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
yeah, we had so much fun, I think, getting to know people in this way. I know it's not the normal way to get to know someone, but um, I don't know if you're the same as me, but I felt like just good people, like more than the average, like a higher percentage of really good people than in the world at large.
Yeah. And the best part of it was that we worked out, I think, fairly early on that we could pretty well get to whoever we wanted to talk to. And if we didn't have a direct-ish contact, we knew someone who did. And often it was past guests. It was whoever it might have been. That was the best part of it. With the relationships that bore other relationships, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And that became easy. We started believing in ourselves we could land them. Then it became just, what are we going to talk about? And that became, I think, comfortable. So then it became, I think, this idea of what are we trying to give the audience at the end? And I think by the end, we had a good relationship. I think it's interesting because most people who speak up in a social media forum, even a YouTube comment section, they either go one of two ways. You're the best thing that ever happened, and we worship you, or you are such dog shit. You are so terrible, and you are so wrong about everything. You always go, there's got to be people sort of in the middle. Why do they never comment?
And the best part of that was going, but why? And forcing them to elaborate. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, YouTube has all these algorithms. I know it helps you to engage and go back and forth, but there really are some very disturbed people on there.
Yeah.
And I think, why would I ever waste my time to get to watch YouTube, watch some people, and then actually sit there and write 47 words of diatribe? I just cannot imagine myself ever doing that.
The best ones were, I haven't watched these, but I don't like the way these two guys talk. I don't like this American guy's take on things. This is garbage. I'm not watching this. Like, all right, well, thanks for going out of your way to let us know that. That's great. But
people got on and said, "You guys are old and fat." Like, you really don't understand me if you think that hurts my feelings.
Yeah, and
you're like, no one's ever called me fat in my life.
Yeah. The technology's been interesting. Sometimes we've had some dodgy connections. Sometimes it's worked. 95% of the time, it's worked perfectly well. But every now and again, there's been some shockers.
The one thing is never be in a stadium and try to do anything. Stadiums are like the death of signal, and you got to like never move and just stay there till midnight. Have the security guards take you out, or you got to leave really early and just get somewhere else, go to a hotel and go. But if you're in the middle and this thing struck, it was it was scary.
And maybe that was the best part of it, was that often you were on the road. This year through the Lion series, it was actually me on the road, which was different from a recording, production, pull it all together end. And maybe what I didn't tell you about Sydney was that we actually had my laptop actually went full blue screen of death twice in the middle of that. And we had to actually finish recording it on my phone and hope that all the recordings were there on the cloud. So then I just had to get out of the stadium, try and get back to the hotel in the CBD as quick as I possibly could. But the trains were appalling. So it took me the best part of 2 hours to get back to the hotel. And it was, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning by the time I put that episode out. So it was crazy times, but we always managed to get a good product up. And maybe that's the best thing, that from where we started to how we became better at it, the way we could produce it, to now, it's pretty slick now. It all comes together pretty well.
Yeah, and we're always dealing with crazy time zones. I mean, the only way it would have been worse is if I was in Guam and you were in New Zealand, maybe.
we were 22 hours apart. Yeah. I mean, at times it's been 19 hours apart. So we're getting pretty close to that.
Just go ahead and go backward in time. So no, I think in the end the challenges were easily surmounted, and that's what I would say again is people. I think we need more content. We need more varied points of view. I think rugby misses a trick still on the level that it does in broadcast. The ability to analyze attack patterns, defense patterns, maul defense.
Yeah.
It doesn't go deep enough. And so people sometimes are just wondering, what are we looking at? This is where I think we can step in, and what people enjoyed is we drill down on something really hard and all the way deep. And that's what I want to do. This is what I want to do, is get that deep on rugby and not just surfacey. And I just found that the people we met were happy to go there with us, whether it was coaches, players, commentators. I loved the generosity that people have, and it's been a joy to be along the ride with you, mate. Enjoy getting to know, idiosyncrasies and things that we won't share on this about each other. It's interesting. It's funny. It's good times.
It's been funny. I mean, I'm sure you've had it at the same time. It's like, oh, you're talking to Brett again. Oh, you're talking to Harry again. Oh, right. All right.
Again.
Fine. We'll put our lives on hold so you can talk to your little podcast friend. Yeah. And that's just from my daughter. Yeah. It's been fun.
Yep.
It's been good. I'm sort of excited and apprehensive about what's next, because I don't know what it is. But I agree with you. I think there's a hole there, particularly from an Australian point of view. And I've popped this question up on the socials this weekend about what's missing. What do you what would you love to see but currently isn't? And I think there's a hole there that I haven't properly defined yet, that I'd like to try and explore and see if there's a way of filling that. So we'll see.
Yeah, everyone go to that post, because I think it's thoughtful and it's constructed well. And from what I can tell, the first 50, replies are not ridiculous. These are not people trying to be doers. They're actually responding.
There's a few people that must say that there's a few people that I think took coverage, broad term coverage, to mean TV, and that then became an invitation to rant about what they do or don't like about Stan Sport, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage everyone to go on there and actually talk about this. Like literally take that, now that you know the backstory, maybe like take Brett's post and really give some actual substantive information, because it might very well tip and influence what you do.
Yeah, so, look, it could do. It could do. I think there is an opportunity there. I don't quite know yet how to take that opportunity, but I'm sort of looking forward to having a few different conversations and lots of coffees with people over the next few months, and we'll see what sort of comes up. So yeah, what's next for you then? What can you tell us?
Well, this week I'm going to Cape Town, and thence to PE to be with the Stormers, in the locker room, on the bus, in the plane.
Champions Cup.
Yeah, on the field.
Yep.
Mrs. Jones and I talking to players, hopefully having really great chats with guys like Sasha and Damien and stalwarts like John Dobson. The other thing is I really am pursuing the end of my graphic novel, which takes these, sort of mythical versions. You've been talking
about this for longer than we've been podcasting. I know that.
Third version. So now we're getting somewhere with actual publisher. And then, like a movie script that I'm trying to write about rugby that I think actually befits the sport and is not as cringy like Invictus, about the actual play, the shape of play. Yeah. Beyond that, I'm going to be, you can find me on the Lekker Rugby Pod, which is a part of Megaphone, which is just an all South African, 24 hours a day. Got some great guys in the Andre Pretorius, CJ van der Linde, former Box. And we just chat about all things incredibly deep, tedious for someone who's not into South African rugby, but maybe you like it. And beyond that, I'm going to be the part that's not really settled yet is, where I'm writing. As we've all know, the Roar is going through some cataclysmic ownership battles. And so that's one thing, but there's another thing coming up, which may make us colleagues again. We don't know. We'll see. And all in furtherance of that great World Cup that looms out there in your backyard.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. It's interesting. I look forward to seeing more about that. It's been good. It's been good.
No, thank you for the hard work. You've definitely worked harder than I have on this thing. I have my moments of mad genius, which cannot be calculated in terms of kilojoules burned, but in terms of just the actual nuts and bolts, blocks and tackling, whatever they call it, you've been stalwarts. And I think commitment to excellence is what we both share with our different personalities. We both hate sloppy, just absurdities. People talking about things they haven't watched. People talking about things they don't understand. And it's been cool to be with you and learning about rugby as we go along, but also sharing the information that we've learned.
Yeah, and that's meant that, every now and again, we'll get a question. Oh, yeah, why don't you guys talk about the sevens more? Why don't you talk about women's rugby, something like that? And the answer has been the same thing the whole time. We just don't get across it, and so we would rather not do those formats and those parts of the game a disservice by trying to comment on something that we haven't seen.
Yeah, tokenism. Yeah,
no, tokenism. Is something that we've tried to avoid the whole time. Can the switch to YouTube has been interesting. So what has changed over our 4 years is that this year in 2025 we switched to be producing video first and foremost. In all the years leading up to it, to this, it's just been, we record on our platform. It records video, it records audio, and I actually used to produce the audio a bit, cut bits out, fix up internet gremlins and things like that. But the video was very raw. The video would just be us talking a bit in between breaks and things like that. No, he's the guest. Can you hear us, mate? Yeah, good. We switched this year when YouTube was becoming obvious that we needed to make the YouTube side of things better and more slick than it was. And so that meant that I had to spend this time last year upskilling in video editing, which was cool. So then we started doing all that with the video side of things, but then that obviously added production time to it. So over the course of this year, and I'd like to think it's been relatively seamless, we've been doing a lot of the breaks and things like that live in the recording. So we're actually not doing a lot of video editing now at all, which has actually been good. I've been pretty happy with the way it's all come together and all that. And ultimately, mate, the end product has looked the same all year, thankfully.
I feel like I've learned to do this better, and it's helped me in the other parts of my life, like just speaking in declarative sentences with a beginning and an end, with verb tense agreement and a bit of grammar. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Look, we're certainly better podcasters than when we started. There's no question about that. I think we've even got probably a better understanding of rugby than when we started.
Yeah,
because we're thinking about things differently. So.
Excellent.
And now this is
good innings.
And now this is it. So then I think, unless you've got anything else that you feel like you need to add right now.
Nah, fuck it. Let's stop wanking and say goodbye.
This then is the 8-9 combo done for the year, and us done as an 8-9 combo itself. Our sincere thanks to all our wonderful guests over the last 2 and the last 4 years, especially to the guys that we mentioned who have become wonderful regulars. Charlie Morgan, Rian Lowe, Jeff Parks, Hugh Griffin, Sean Maloney, who was good enough to voice the closer, Tony Johnson, Jamie Wall, Martin Devlin, Lee Calvert, so many more great guests. We've had 2 World Rugby chairs. We've had a great collection of current and former players and coaches, legends of the game, writers and journos from literally all over the rugby world, administrators, commentators, referees, almost 100 superb guests over our time. But mate, my biggest thank you is to you. You had the idea. You talked me into doing this. You convinced me of the concept, and from there it was a concerted partnership to make it work. And we did make it work. We've recorded in stadiums all over the world, from airports, from pubs, from pools, obviously from our home bases as well. We even managed to do one pod in person, and from day one, this has been a blast. We've swapped jerseys, we've swapped training shirts, we've sent gifts back and forward. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this with you every week from the very, very first chat that we had. So thank you, mate.
Hey, awesome. That sounds like a bromance or something. Listen, you're a good man from my heart. I know that to be true from lots of reasons we won't get into. And people should support this kind of thing in Australia. And if you've ever wondered, I know Australian fans like to bemoan things, just throw all that energy into support and you'd be surprised. And so I wish you the best. Whatever this ends up being, I hope I can be invited on again for some mad guest cameos if I play my cards right. And
if you play your cards right,
you cash.
Yeah. I'll
Pay my way on.
I'll get the producing team onto that.
Yeah, there you go. Good luck, man. It's been wonderful.
And look, we probably should thank our families for indulging us weekly chats at all hours of the day for the last 4 years. We certainly couldn't have done this without their support. So thank you for finding Harry and I on the socials. Thanks for finding the 8-9 Combo on the socials. Thanks for having your say here on the YouTube channel, on the pod platforms as well. We have genuinely loved hearing from you wherever you are around the rugby world. This has been the 8-9 Combo, the best and only short side set piece Australia, South African, American combination you've had in a rugby podcast. I'm Brett McKay. He's Harry Jones. And though it won't be together, we will be back in your ears sometime.
Thank you for playing with us.
Here goes Jones with another bruising run. He links up with McKay, who pops back to Jones. They can't. They won't. They will. What a try. The Dream Team Combo go in again.